live. Hey, hey. I love the way Sean does it. Sean's very consistent with this move. He's very... Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching us and you've been following us, you can see the various iterations of the Friday Night Live. And welcome to, I think, one of our best episodes, I would say, even before recording it. So let's put the good vibes out there.
Amen.
Let's make sure this works well. Well, welcome to Friday Night Live. We are recording from the Hills podcast at the Bella Vista Hotel. So I just want to give them a shout out. Thank you guys for letting us do this. This is awesome. Just a quick personal recommendation. If you love coffee and you love alcohol, their espresso martinis are to try. And after that shameless plug to Friday Night Live, this is Kesh. And I've got Sean, I've got Marc as usual. And the boys are back. And today we've got a very, very interesting episode, guys. There is a lot of word around, and it's been there for a long, long time. There's a massive trend of people actually selling their homes. So from Elon Musk, who's selling more than just his home, and he's moved into a shoebox from all I understand. And Kanye West talking about non-home ownership. People are giving up real estate. Are they giving this up for NFTs or Bitcoin? Not really. There is a catch today, and we are going to break it down and actually debrief people on what's happening around the world. Why are billionaires of today giving this up? In fact, you know, this is really not an old trend. If you really think back, producer Anna might be able to put something up here, but Warren Buffett still owns his original home. And he is worth, I don't know how many $1 billion today. It is very, very interesting to see that trend. Right. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about home ownership. We're going to be talking about why billionaires today are giving up home ownership. In fact, I'm going to talk a little bit about Harry Triggerbuff. I hope I've said that right. If I haven't, I apologize. You don't want that man angry. But he is the king of real estate. And he's the number one example of maybe apartments aren't all that bad, provided you can buy the whole building.
He's an example of monopoly at its finest.
It is, right? And this gentleman lives in $100-something million house, from my understanding. I'll double check my facts, but he lives in a really nice house. Of course, he's worth $17-something billion, if I'm not wrong. But again, if you look at a pattern here, which we will go through, guys, in this podcast, is his business or his investments, if you will. His business is real estate and his investments. So his trick was to buy and hold. So if you look at the Meriton business model, a lot of developers build apartments and houses and sell them. There was a portion of that, but eventually, as he got wealthier and wealthier, he realized that holding for a long term is better than flipping for the short term and the compound effect of that. And he is the number one example of Meriton. Everyone in Sydney, I'm pretty sure, are familiar with this guy, right? So today, guys, what I would love to do is lean on both of you, Sean and Marc, to just understand where the shift is coming from. And we are having a lot of conversations where on the other side, we're seeing people who are middle income, who are billionaires, and they're very upset. They're very upset with the current boom because their Aussie home dream has been squashed, as 60 Minutes would frame it. By the way, 60 Minutes, this is officially to you. How about that? Censored that bit. Stop manipulating everyday people for your headlines.
And in other words, watch this episode we did 3 weeks ago, right here.
Yeah, 100%. So we'll come back to that. But I just want to do a good introduction because we quack on quite a bit and we don't tell people what it's going to be about. But back to you guys. Sean, as we always do, how has your beautiful week been this week?
Oh, I've been looking forward to this question all week. Well, Kesh, the week's been absolutely chaotic, but you know what? Chaotic in a good way. I get to hang out with the both of you. You both are wonderful, lovely lads.
Oh, thanks.
And you're both high achievers, which I love being around that energy. So keeps me very, very happy. And yeah, I can't really complain because the week's been chaotic, but for a change, I'm liking this change of scenery. There's a lot of exciting things coming up. We're not really slowing down towards the end of the year. I think we're actually getting busier towards the end of the year as we head in there.
Absolutely. Pedal to the metal.
Pedal to the metal, baby. So the week's been great.
What about yourself, Marky Mark?
I've got a new one this week.
Oh, beautiful.
You ready?
Yeah.
My week has been euphoric.
You know what? I'm gonna go here, out of frame. Hey, we tried that out. I don't know what that sounded like, but that was claps.
Yeah.
And
It was good.
Oh, mate, I am really, really happy that we've had that sort of week. And you know what? Something about the team, we do, all of us, being in the industry we're in and our personalities, we really look up to high achievers. And you know, you watch all these motivation videos and you watch all of this sort of stuff and you get pumped and you do all of these sort of things. But actually working in a team with the same people, watching my friends, my colleagues, you guys going the extra mile. And the funny thing is, within the business, it's not going the extra mile to make more money. We're going the extra mile to make sure that an everyday person can really change their financial trajectory, is going the extra mile to help someone who could have never, ever even dreamt of creating some wealth for themselves.
True.
We are going the extra mile to do that. And Mark, you had a 10 o'clock meeting last night helping this person, and that meeting was supposed to be a 20-minute meeting, and it was a virtual coffee, so there was no cost to it. But again, everyone knows we call him empathetic Mark. Mark does take out time to sit down with people and give them at 10 o'clock at night from his private time, and which is incredible. That just shows how amazing the team is. And guys, it is an honor, or absolute honor. I want to say this on the radio or podcast or YouTube or wherever you're consuming it, that it is an honor to work alongside you guys. It is brilliant.
Likewise. And I think Mark's the man of many, many talents.
He is.
He can serve your family in ways you never imagined.
I don't want to go down.
Ask me how.
All right.
Can I add as well?
Of course.
I think what makes it even better, all of us, is that we can, all of us individually, spend almost an hour on the phone together.
Yeah.
Not just talking about work, but talking about other goals and all those other bits and pieces. And look, I'm sure there's other people out there that do the same thing. But at the same time, you know, connecting with people, you can't spend more than 5 minutes on the phone if you're not connected with someone. On a,
100%.
More than just an emotional level, you know, like a spiritual level, all sorts of levels. All right.
But you know what? This just reminds me, and guys, I apologize for people who are here to know why billionaires are not buying homes, but this is something very important that all three of us agree with. The biggest problem with success in any scene, like even when, like we of course, property bias. I love real estate. Has done me great favors, if you will, served me really well. That is our circle of competence. But the reality is, this dream of real estate, or having the courage to do real estate, was to surround myself with the right people. Often you think mum and dad or your friends or people you've grown up with would understand what you're trying to do, but most times people are parking doubts in your head, you know, and the reality is a lot of people love you as long as you're not doing better than them.
Yes.
So true. We have such a big tall poppy syndrome in Australia, actually.
We do.
And people really need to understand this, because sometimes that's why when you get rich, you like showing it so that you can enjoy a bit of that tall poppy syndrome backlash. But when you get wealthy, you start flying under the radar. The Aventador turns into the 911 Turbo S, baby.
It does. And this is something for our viewers and listeners out there. Guys, if you're not, the biggest thing, like property strategy, this, should I buy my house, investment? Of course, we can do a million videos and show you a billion strategies. But the reality is, this is a mindset game. And I think, at least for me, my number one method of success is, like, surround yourself with people you want to be like, or who are on the same journey as you. Yep. So if I hang out with people who are wealthier than me, or I hang out with people who are on the same journey, same hustle, like, I have nothing. I personally, I cannot relate to someone who has spent 15, 20. Mate, again, I'm not bagging out education. I got a master's of finance investment banking. I want to go do a PhD in behavioral economics and understand gentrification of real estate. Like, don't get me wrong. But there's a massive difference between academics and your Excel sheets and the reality of things.
Absolutely.
And it's so important for me personally to hang out with people who think the same way, because going back to what I was saying, I can't relate to people who work 9 to 5 and will spend 30, 40, 50, 60 years of their life miserable in the job that they don't like. And I'll tell you something. Let me take a man for an example here. Again, I'm not being sexist, but I can speak as a man for a man. Most people who do that, who work their 9 to 5, don't want to go to the extra mile, don't ask for the promotion, don't start their business, don't invest, or whatever version it is, right? Don't have the friends they like. They married the person they didn't want to, live in a house they hate, drive a piece of shit car because they find comfort in mediocrity because they're so scared to fail. And I just feel I can't relate to that anymore. I just can't. And you know what? I was saying this to Sean the other day, Marc, and I was saying, I don't know where life's going to take me. Maybe all my investments go to shit. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to die a very, very peaceful death, whenever that is. Tomorrow, 85, 105. I don't know if I get uploaded into the cloud. I don't know what's coming.
100%.
Shout out Elon, look after me. But it's, you know what? I'd rather try really hard, swing for the fences, and be the best version of myself and be the top performer at whatever I'm doing. And I'm not attached to the result. And that's what I love about you guys. We dream, execute to the highest level. If we need to do 6 reps, we've done 12. Right? And most people through December would be like, stuff it, we'll look after next year and procrastinate. We're going harder and harder, not only for ourselves, but our clients, helping them get that 1 extra %. And that's what differentiates someone who's ultra successful. Your Michael Jordans, if you're a cricket fan, your Virat Kohlis, or any sport, mate. Like, pick anything, right? This guy's doing more than just training, right? And if you haven't read this book, we've plugged it a few times, Relentless, or Wake the Giant Within, Tony Robbins, or, these are places where a lot of people have information but no implementation. And the reason they don't implement is either they don't believe in themselves, or they're surrounded by other losers that make them feel like it's okay to be a loser.
Yep. 110%.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Speaking of losers, let's talk about buying your own home. It is a fair transition into buying your own home. And so from Elon, we're gonna plug a little video, and I'm gonna show you this video from Elon. We're gonna talk about a little bit of Kanye West. For people who don't know who Kanye West is, he's Kim Kardashian's husband. That's sad. I got to announce it like that. But there is a huge pattern of ultra wealthy people getting rid of their homes, or their home is one of their last purchases once they have actually created some wealth. So I'm just going to jump onto this video producer Anna has popped up for us. It's from the Joe Rogan Experience.
Joe Rogan Experience.
Now, you're in the middle of this this strange time where you're selling your houses. You say you don't want any material possessions, and I've been seeing all that, and I've been really excited to talk to you about this.
Yeah.
Because it's an interesting thing to come from a guy like yourself. Like, why are you doing that?
I'm slightly sad about it, actually. But
Well, if you're sad about it, why are you doing it?
I think possessions kind of weigh you down. They're kind of
Possessions weigh you down. And we're going to talk about a little bit of this financially and psychologically, but that was the first point, okay? And this is Elon Musk, billionaire of our generation. This is the man who sold PayPal. You know the facts. I don't know how much did he sell PayPal? 120, 130, I don't know how much.
I think around 200 mil.
200 mil. And
thereabouts.
And allegedly he took all the money and put it in SpaceX and something else and Tesla. And he actually borrowed money to rent. Businesses buy houses. Houses don't buy businesses. So be investor first before you go get the house. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but let's watch this.
You're obviously you're gonna rent a place?
Yeah.
Okay. And get rid of everything except clothes?
No, I said like almost everything. So it's like
Keep a couple Teslas.
yeah, sure. Obviously,
You have
Tesla kind of have to
Yeah.
test the product and stuff. Yeah, there's things that have sentimental value for sure. Keeping those, yeah.
So do you feel like
I mean,
there's
what's the worst that could happen? I mean, be fine.
yeah, you could always buy more stuff if you don't like it.
Suppose so.
Yeah, I mean, from the money that you sell all your stuff, you could buy new stuff. But do you feel like people define you by the fact that you're wealthy?
And I'm just going to come back to that, guys. Thanks, producer Anna. So this, just coming back to this, he's talking about, and this is a psychological thing, right? So he's talking about giving up his possessions. And there's a whole, we'll debrief the whole asset thing, because how much money's gone into the Gigafactory and other assets and his valuations of his business and so on and so forth. He's giving up these things because these things have no financial benefit to a billionaire. It is a distraction. And it's also dragging him down. It's not allowing him to concentrate on other things. And Kanye said something very similar. So, Sean, you talk to a lot of investors, and we have this term called DNQ, do not qualify. And do not qualify not for the business, but do not qualify to do anything for a very long time. And a large portion of that is usually mortgage, and especially talking about Sydney siders. So can you just explain to us what really happens, even though your people are earning decent incomes, what are large mortgages doing to people and why is it limiting them?
Well, it starts with a bit of, so there's psychology involved in every element, right? The psychology is when a family does what they see every other family around them doing. The first thing you do after you get a well-paid job is you find a partner, and then you settle down, and then you're starting a family, and then it's time to find a place of living. So finding a place to live in it's important to note the difference as well, that what Elon's talking about, what Kanye West is talking about is getting rid of assets that they call a live-in home, as opposed to just homes or businesses, because I won't get into it right now. We'll obviously get into it during the discussion, but the biopsychology behind what you do when you're 35, 45 and you're earning well is you end up actually going to the bank with your partner, and you decide to say, hey, okay, the question you ask is never what should I be buying? The question that's asked is how much can I borrow? And the banks have almost, if you both think about this, the banks have almost subconsciously programmed you to ask that question. Yes. Because every borrowing calculator you go to, the bank goes, we can tell you how much you can borrow. Here's how much you can borrow. What can you borrow? What can I borrow? They speak for you. So it becomes, okay, how much can I borrow? And automatically families decide, okay, that's my limit. So that means I can buy worth that limit now. And when families put themselves into this level of stress where they're using their overall lending capacity to buy the one live-in home as opposed to borrow to buy shares or borrow to buy investments, they disqualify themselves because they've all used the upper limit of just buying a stupid home that doesn't pay them anything.
So again, this is going back to Marc. We had this on the show before, the line analogy, right? About purchase price. You've got everything's got a red line in, and you're right. So you're saying if I borrow $1 million today, it costs $5,000-$6,000 or whatever the repayments are, and because it's my own home, it's not giving me any income from it. So all my income is going into that property, right? And it's really, really funny that, and this blows my mind, Marc, and I'm it's going to be a psychological like a question about psychologies of people here. You as a young person, so as I'm growing up, there's certain things that I look at that my parents did really well. And as I'm getting older, I'm like, shit, that's just like mum, or shit, that's just like dad. You know, like it just comes to me.
Absolutely.
And there's certain things that I want to replicate. Absolutely. Right. And I'm not giving anyone parenting advice here, but like I'm just saying things I've noticed as a child and now as a adult. These things come in the back of my mind, right? Small thing of how I love to keep my car clean. My dad was like pedantic about it, right? Yet, and we notice a lot of other decisions, their finances and so on and so forth. And if you're someone who hasn't had the opportunity to grow up around a multi-millionaire or a billionaire, and you had a middle-class upbringing, and you saw your parents work a small business or a job, and they're comfortable, they've paid off their mortgage, maybe have one investment property, but they're not that top 1% that we talk about or Instagram promotes today. Yet it just blows my mind. People think they're going to follow the same pattern and get different results. And the reality is mortgages, and I'm gonna try and find the facts here, were actually made as I think it started in America, I can't remember. I'll find the right facts through the podcast, but it was actually a banking product because the banks wanted to know, how can we lend someone, because we were giving out business loans, we were doing personal loans, we were doing loans at old days. You wore a nice suit, you need to reference someone to lend you money. It wasn't as organized as it is today, but the idea was, how can you lock someone into a 30 to 40 year term under an asset that is going up in value? So even if they default anywhere through the process, the bank's got upside. And yes, they might not receive very high interest as personal loans or credit cards would do, but those loans are also paid back far more quickly. And how could they build their books? Because what the banks like to do is their income is on lending money. And as we talk about hedging our bets, so I hedge my safe bets with real estate and use the income generating from real estate to buy shares or cryptocurrency or cars from a line of credit or whatever it might be, so that if whatever I'm doing outside of real estate doesn't work out, I know in the next 10 or 15 years, my real estate would have outperformed my dumb decisions in other spaces. What I want to ask you, Marc, is you speak to so many people, day to day. That is your job, is to really sit down with people, understand their situation, and help them navigate the world of investing and understand what's possible for them per se, right? Not some cookie cutter solution. Why do you think people are repeating a model that they have clearly seen doesn't help and doing it over and over again, and they think they'll have a different result? And even though in their hearts they know this is not what I should be doing, they get sucked into it.
One word, I've said it before, I'll say it again: emotion. It gets in the way of everything. The ego is an emotion. All right. One thing as well, which I may get slammed on for saying this, but this is what we're here to do, is be brutally honest, is there are some very, very, very smart women in the world. And I'm not going to take away from any woman who's a powerful force, right? But females are also naturally maternal.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're maternal, you're thinking about survival. You're thinking about safety and looking after a family. I mean, look, there are women out there that don't want to have children, and there are a big portion of women that do want to have children.
Oh,
and it's 100%. Not because, they really enjoy changing a happy, because it is. All right.
Oh, mate, you're a dad. We know.
Trust me. But it's the fact that it brings an unconditional love that you've never experienced before. And females vibe on that more than men do, because men are, again, naturally and chemically programmed to be a hunter. Okay. So I deal with it all the time. And it is a bit of a shame. And when I say it's a bit of a shame, it's a shame to look at these young kings that are sitting in front of me, and it's their female counterpart that is kind of steering the ship. And I think, well, if we have a very logical conversation right now, we talk numbers and we say, let's get rid of the heart and use the brain only, they all agree. And they go, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, the tax benefits and this benefit and that. And, it keeps us alive without having to go out and earn more and do more. And we can live an enjoyable lifestyle. And that's what we want to give people. We're not here. I'll always say this religiously in every single meeting I have. We're not here to force our clients to eat baked beans for 2-3 years to go buy property.
I'm not the barefoot investor.
No,
I love my shoes.
We want you to enjoy
It's
a
so
lifestyle.
funny because every barefoot investor client I have is dead broke.
Exactly. And look,
It's true.
This is something where we are going to be, unfortunately, speaking to a brick wall about this for eternity, because we've been saying the same things 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago, right? And people that have been in real estate 20 years earlier were probably saying the same thing on a different spectrum. We're in 2021 now. If you live in Sydney and you're listening to this right now, you must be living under a rock if you think you can buy a property less than $500,000.
$500,000, mate.
I'm being very generous and expanding that all the way out to
Bro,
Bathurst.
Well, we're talking about, single bedroom units in Warrington for sure. But at the same time, you're so right, Mark, because think about this, right, Kesh? We know that there's posers in a family. You know how there's a posers who pretend to be, I'm the king of this and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Mrs. walks in and the guy becomes a little mouse. He goes from being a tiger to a mouse. Who controls the financial decisions in a house should actually be discussed, whether it's 50-50 or whether it's 70-30, whoever's calling the shots. It should at least be known between the two of them, because what I learned is what we're actually helping them understand is as they go through our whole process, they realize more about each other than they initially knew.
Yeah.
Can I tell you a personal story? And I want people to know this. And so when I started dating my current wife, not like I've had
Current wife, how many are we talking? Did you used to be a Muslim before?
we got it, mate. We got
Just quack that last part, please. Produce that, whatever it is, don't let anybody know that last part.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we continue and I tell you what I was about to say, I was about to tell you a very, very important story at the back of what Sean said about, sharing that journey and having that discussion. I've been saying this every single week, all right? I want you guys to subscribe and support. But I've also realized that through our conversations, we're dropping so much information that people are unable to use their mouse or their thumbs, or cannot fathom the courage to move their thumbs to hit the subscribe and the bell icon and share and leave us a comment. So this is your chance now. I'm going to give you 30 seconds at my convenience, because I need to run to the bathroom, but to subscribe now. This is your chance. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Friday Night Live. We are taking a subscription break. This is your you can't subscribe after this. That'll be cheating. You got to subscribe right now, right here, till we are back in literally 30 seconds.
And if you subscribe right now, you will have a good piece of good luck come your way. Take it from me.
Yay, yay.
And I'll send you a personal email too.
Coming back from the break, hope you guys have subscribed to our channel. That was your moment. No, you can't. It'll be cheating. So please do not click the subscribe button.
Actually, if you want to, just still please click it.
Nah, don't let him do it. Don't let him do it.
Or visit Kesh's OnlyFans.
Definitely.
Mate, you know what? It is so funny that sometimes I have conversations with people and I'm giving them information that will make them, and this is not clickbait, legit millions.
Yeah.
At worst case scenario, bring them back at least 40% of their tax. And yet, that's free. And then people are willing to pay for nudes for $16.99. So obviously, making people millions isn't as good enough as sending someone nudes. So I'm in the wrong business. But, mate, maybe in my next life. Coming back to this, I was telling you guys a story, and Sean, you said something really valuable. So when I started dating my wife about 7 years ago, if I've got my dates wrong, maybe apologize. And then we got married, and throughout the journey, I was always the money guy, the hustle, I gotta live like a king of the hill, right? But and when you're young, you have various ideas and you think about getting rich quick. And the reality is, the only way to get rich quick is buy a lotto ticket and pray to God you win, right? You slowly start to mature and you start to make wise decisions. And so I grew up with ADHD. Believe it or not, I sucked at school. I now have a Master's of Finance Investment Banking. Actually, I graduated with an HD. Did really, really well, right? Because maths was my thing. Funnily enough, nothing made sense except for math, like numbers, because the carrot. Okay, compound interest is how it's going to work, right? Anyway, long story short, Sean, you're absolutely right. So as we have grown together and we're married now, my wife makes the financial decisions with me. In fact, I consult with her because it was my responsibility to educate her, inform her of my new learnings and decisions as I learned and made decisions over the 8, 9, 10 years, right? Similarly, I have learned so much. I think there is not a better manager ever. I don't mean this in a husband-wife way, like legit in life. Someone who's so calm. Like, I've never seen her upset or go crazy. Like, she won't go, like, oh, welcome to... None of that. It's just calm, cool, composed. And I've learned so much from her that today I use those things. And Sean, what you said, it's so true. It doesn't matter whether you're a man or woman. It doesn't matter who's wearing the pants or who's earning more or less. It is a combined decision. And if one person's not on the same page, and some people are, like you said, mate, like in my head, and I could be completely wrong, but I feel like it's my responsibility to provide. And not that my partner's useless or anything. No, I want my partner to make 50 times more money than me, play golf, pick up the kids. Yeah, but even if I'm making $20 and my missus making $100, I'll make sure I do my best to look after the big things, and that's my personal choice.
Regardless who's doing what, and I'm not here to bag out women or anything. I just want to put that little disclaimer.
Oh no, yeah, 100%.
But I think it's more about the fact that we need to look at life in a more logical sense if we don't plan in dying in the next 2-3 years, for example, right? And then look at it like that and say, well, okay, yes, we won't have that emotional feeling of owning our own home and painting the walls we want to do. And look, some people want that, and I get that, and that's cool. You can still have those luxuries to a degree.
But my question to these people, Marc, is this, right? You are buying a property, and mind you, you're buying a property that you don't even like in a suburb that you don't like. You don't have the schools, you don't have the hospitals, you don't forget stuff the schools and the hospitals. You don't have anything that you enjoy about it.
Yep.
You are now taking 3 hours because you're trying to get out of the single lane.
Yep.
Because the planning isn't complete. You are paying premium dollars and you're left with no extra money. And you're always stressed out. You're not, and you know the biggest thing that I think is financial freedom for me is having my time back.
Yes.
And I feel most people, driven people, their legs are cut when they buy a home, a mortgage. I'll tell you why. I think most people can achieve a lot of things in their life, but they're scared, and what brings them down is the bills. They're scared to ask for the promotion. They're scared to switch industries. Mate, why would you work? Sometimes I don't, again, I'm not being disrespectful. This is just my opinion, but I don't understand why you would work I see some people work $45,000, $50,000 jobs for 30 years of their life, pushing paper. Are you me? If your skill set is pushing paper, the only reason you're still around is because your boss is nice.
Yeah.
Right? And guess what? The economy is fair. And if you go and tie yourself into a debt over this emotion, you will never be able to start your own business. You will leave no inheritance for your children. And the funny thing is, these people are people like in my head, for me to buy my dream home, I need to have X amount of investments first. My annual income has to be XYZ. Then I'll buy the family home. So I'm not saying don't buy real estate.
Yeah.
Buy real estate, buy a ton of real estate, but income generating real estate. My red line, my mortgage payments, my insurances, my council rates, all of that is being paid by someone else.
Yep.
I'm not just sitting here trying to get into the market because you can't save yourself wealthy. And my responsibility of getting into my family home is through making more money. Now, whether that is making more money through equity in my investments or through my personal income, that's up to you. But and it's so crazy. It is so crazy. Like let's talk about Warren Buffett, for example, right? I think Warren Buffett bought his original house for $30,000-$40,000, must be what, $600,000-$700,000 today. And let's look up what Warren Buffett's worth is. I just want to have a quick look and look at what Warren Buffett.
Now let's calculate the value of his house as opposed to the percentage of his wealth.
So
because that would be a great number.
Warren Buffett is worth $104.1 billion.
It's all right.
You got to, mate. That is the dream. The 3 Comma Club.
When did Warren Buffett hit the 100 Billy Club? That's got to be recent.
Yeah, because I think it was on 85 or something. I'm talking about it like I got a couple of billion. Hey, Bill Gender.
Hey, Bill Genders. Watch out, Bill Genders. We have an acceptance for you all.
Warren Buffett house price. I'm just Googling this as we speak, mate. Like Uncle Google. It's not. Maybe I'm not Googling it properly, but
Well, he's in Omaha, right? Omaha.
bro, someone's actually done it.
He's the Oracle of Omaha.
Warren Buffett lives in a modest house worth 0.001%.
Holy moly.
0.001% of his home. And again, we talk about the eastern suburbs, we talk about the North Shore, we talk about Mossman, Potts Point, Vaucluse. Do you guys really think they bought the $8 million home by going to the bank and saying, how much can I borrow? What can you give me? What my LMI is going to be? No. They're playing at a very, very... Mate, I see people shy away. Like I had a conversation the other day and this person would have been perfect. And mind you, I'll tell you a story. This person, if they made that purchase at the time that we were having this conversation, they would have made $150,000, $200,000 right at the time to be able to buy into one of the middle ring aspirational suburbs in Sydney, right? And they didn't have the money at the time, but I said, make this 500. No, it wasn't even 500. It was $485,000. And that house today on the record, last time I checked was 660, 670 or something around that. Over 2 or 3 years or whatever, right? And this person worried about it. And what people don't realize today, Sean, you and I were having conversations. There's no decent real estate really left sub 500. There used to be some great opportunities, and it's getting harder and harder. And this is going to create the disparity between the wealthy and the not so wealthy, because the wealthy can keep going and going. And today, if I had to buy a house for 1.25 million or 2.25 million, 3.5 million, I've got the equity to do it. Yep. Versus someone who's trying to keep up. But this equity has come over 10 years. It hasn't come today. And this person shied away. And just to give you context, guys, a Range Rover Autobiography, which is an SUV, costs almost $300,000. C63, brand new. And the C63, ladies and gentlemen, is a very, very good car, but it is still upper middle class. It's not a Lamborghini Huracan. Is $185,000. Okay. The other day, I looked at a Hyundai Palisade, which is a 7-seater. I think they start about $60,000, $70,000. Right? So the reason I'm giving you these numbers out here and I'm comparing them to cars, that's something I know, or watches, Audemars Piguet, or a Rolex, maybe a day-date president with a presidential bracelet. They start about $55,000, $56,000. You are living in a world of dreams. And when I hear people going, what is the risk? Like, are you kidding me? People driving around $500,000 cars, you clown. And when they go to me and they say, I will start when I have X, Y, and Z, and the saving capacity is $1,000 or $2,000, you're dreaming. You're dreaming. And to summarize today's conversation, guys, is everyone wealthy, and Google this, right? If you don't take my word for it, Google it. Go door knocking in Double Bay. Go door knocking in Mossman. Unless you were inherently wealthy, no one started from there. And why these properties, these places keep their prices up. Today we're in we're in Bella Vista at the Hills podcast studio, and Bella Vista's prices are now $3-4 million for a house. Is because these are the guys who started at maybe Ponds or Blacktown, made money and moved here. Not just from the equity of their homes, but in their personal lives, they upgraded their personal incomes. And if you speak to any person, any successful person, Sean is a business owner. Sean put all his money into the business. He's got investments, right? And his owner-occupier is going to be cracker, which I know. I know what the secret house is, right? Is going to have a lot of zeros. A lot of zeros. But he's in no hurry to do it because Sean has multiple investments in businesses, in properties, because he has learned in his life that my mum and dad bought a house and they've done really well, but Sean's aspirations are next level, and he's going, no, I'm going to buy income generating assets first. I'm going to delay my gratification. I don't care of painting my walls pink. Instead of buying a house because I'm having a son or a daughter, or I was having a kid, so I had to buy a house. I'd rather leave my kid 10 houses and beat the rat race. And what people need to realize is you're buying a property and you're making bad financial decisions. And if you're 35, 45, 55 years old, that's okay. But you know what you're doing? You're doing a big disservice to your next generation. You are doing a big disservice. Every decision you take today is going to affect your children directly or indirectly. And as I'm getting older and I see older people pass away, and there's a little bit of a joke, I see the ones that are remembered fondly, irrespective of what they did, is the ones who left a lot for their family. Oh, Uncle John was great as long as he left $10 million. And then you got Uncle Smith, who could have been the most charitable person, broke as and didn't leave anything. It's like, this didn't leave us anything. We got to pay for his funeral. You become a burden. So, ladies and gentlemen.
He didn't even take out funeral insurance, the dog.
No, he didn't.
He would have probably been a Mr. Excuses going, why would I need funeral insurance? Mate, I'm going to be dead.
Mate, Mr. Excuse.
You know who that sounded like? It sounded like that one guy. Well, I've got investments overseas.
Doing absolutely nothing here.
Oh, mate, it's just so. Long story short, I like to learn from the best. I absolutely do. I'm no way, shape, or form a billionaire, and I'm not going to try and act like one. But I understand a lot about money. Sean understands a lot about money. Marc understands a lot. We have these conversations every day. We apply them in our own lives, in our own ways. And touch wood, because of our efforts, a little bit of good luck, the man upstairs or the woman upstairs, the universe, whatever you believe in, has been kind enough to give us the opportunity, the thought process to think these things. And I can clearly tell you there's a massive difference between people who do it and who don't. And I feel if a formula is good enough for people like Warren Buffett, Kanye West, Elon Musk, the ultra wealthy, the people can only fathom. I don't even know how many zeros are in 100 billion. I know there's some clown and be like, you don't know your numbers, and put it in the comments. At least I get some engagement. But, so guys, I want you to really think about what you're doing. What are going to be the long-term consequences of this decision? And I'm not trying to steer you away from buying your own home, not at all. But really ask yourself, are you qualified in your life to buy? Have you ticked all the boxes? You know how you got to qualify for an interview? You got to qualify for a blood test. You can't be shooting up and giving someone blood. Or, you got to qualify for a driver's license. You got to know how to drive a car. Today in Sydney, there is a certain qualification required. And if you're not there as yet, it's okay. It is okay. It's not the end of the world. Still buy real estate, but invest first. Rent in a place that you actually like, close to work, close to your schools, close to things that you actually enjoy. Mate, you got one life to live. And it is really not a waste of money if you really understand how it is. And if you guys are really curious, you want me to do a proper workshop where I show you guys the numbers, or Marc or Sean, one of us, let us know in the comments. I'd love to do that. I'd be honored to do that, actually. And break down, put in a question, and if you feel stuck, you feel frustrated, you don't know where to go from here, that is okay. Okay. Put your hand up, say, I don't know. And one of us will help you out, or speak to someone else, whoever appeals to you, I guess, or who is in a position that you would like to be in.
Yeah. Don't speak to just someone about, fact that you should be buying a home or not. If you just go to your neighbor and ask them what you should be doing, is that where you want to
take advice?
No. Yeah. Don't take advice from Mr. Excuses. Don't take advice from the someone that you don't want to be. Take advice from the lifestyle you do want to live.
100%. Like, don't ask me about diets. I have no idea. I don't care. But you know what I mean? And I really feel, before I wrap up tonight, and it's almost time and I don't want to carry on, we'll do our rapid robins, but I really think poverty is a disease. And it is, if you are here thinking I'm going to be on the pension, I think you're below scum. I really do. Look, if you've got a physical ailment, life's been unfair. My heart goes out to you, and more than happy to help in whatever way, shape, or form. But if you were physically able and you were just a lazy and you think everyone else should be doing the heavy lifting, let me tell you what. Me, in my economy, Marc in his economy, Sean in his economy, are all part of the same economy. And every day you snooze, I'm coming for that dollar. There's only so many dollars to go around in the economy. There's only so many dollars. And if you're sitting at home and not studying the wealthiest people and their decisions, and you think you're going to do something different, you're kidding yourself.
Yep.
You really are kidding yourself. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, this is a wrap for Friday Night Live of why billionaires are moving away from owning their own homes. I hope you enjoyed this episode. But before we wrap up at the Hills podcast studio, Sean, over to you for your amazing Rapid Robins.
Well, gentlemen, tonight's question is actually very relevant to the topic we are covering.
All right.
All right. Well, we'll go with we'll just go in a clockwise sort of direction. So I'll go last here. Marc, Kesh, what do you both believe should be the ideal loan to value ratio that you purchase your dream home in?
99%.
leverage to the T.
So you're
hotel.
So you're okay leveraging it almost like as minimum deposit as possible and leveraging the dream home to the max.
Look, this is what I was going to bring up earlier as well. If you're renting in a dream location, what's the difference if you're renting there, waking up every morning, overlooking the water, dolphins jumping out or some shit?
Love it. Love it. Keep preach, brother, preach.
But you're paying rent, which is being paid by your tenants, or you go to work to earn income to then pay a mortgage to the bank. All right. It takes a certain amount of time to pay it off. But regardless, what I'm trying to say is at the end of the day, you're not buying your dream home at 21 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So by the time you're doing that.
Unless you got a rich daddy.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
No, not that sort of daddy, bro. Like legit like that.
well, I think all of our kids will have a good fun pick at deciding what they want to do in their life, I'm sure. But just to add to this as well. So, Marc, what's the difference? You're really right about this because, human beings love that sense of ownership. There is that intense feeling of healthy greed. I mean, we know greed is good when it's used the right way.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Of course.
But how it's funny because even everything we own outright in cash, whether there's a loan, no loan, you still can't take it with your 6 foot under, right?
No. You can't.
100%.
To answer that question, and I digress here without we breaking the bank and going over time, is I understand where Marc's coming from. I've got a little bit of so what Marc's strategy is pretty good. So if you can leverage up to 99% and you're a high income earner, your servicing wouldn't be affected and you can continue to invest. And then why pay for something that's moving up in value anyway?
Use all my cash and put it on black at the casino. What do I want to put in the bank for?
And that strategy is the reason we've built our business so successfully.
Yeah.
Black at the
Gamble responsibly.
Just produce around a tagline on somewhere.
But me personally, Sean, I would go 99.9% if that was legal. Not on my own home.
Leveraging. I'm talking about for your dream home.
No. That's what I'm saying. I'll go 99.9% if I could. Ladies and gentlemen, you can go up to 95%, 98% on owner-occupier from my understanding. 90% is maximum lending for most lenders when it comes to investment properties. Here, I dropped some knowledge. But for my own home, I'd basically be on a 50% LVR or less. But for my investments, 110%.
I want them to pay me.
Yeah, that's it. Because that's a longer conversation. But Sean, what about yourself?
I think for the dream home, it's got to be around 50 to 60% LVR for sure, because you're not too worried about what you have to do in case you're in a crunch. You're
100%.
in a very comfortable spot.
It is.
And what are you really doing with the other 30% available redraw? Let's be honest, you're pulling it out and picking up a couple of Lambos.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Lambos, it is. Actually, you know what? I want to do. Tell me, guys, if you're interested to know, I can show you the maths behind buying a Lambo from real estate. And offsetting, hedging the losses of depreciation. And there'll be some Lambo fans. They don't go back in value. Well, in my world, they do.
Yeah.
So, this is my podcast. Get your own.
Oh, but the Countach is back now. The Countach is going back up to the sky. Lamborghini Diablo is also back to the sky. And Aventador has finished the depreciation on the way back up now.
It is. It actually is. But I would do that. That's a really good question. That is actually a really good question. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Friday Night Live. This is a new setup. Again, actually, no jokes, no shameless plug here, but the Hills podcast room at the Bella Vista Hotel have been very kind to let us use this space, which we've really enjoyed. I've had a few drinks, which I have really enjoyed. And thank you, Sean. Thank you, Marc, for your lovely company and insights. This has been another episode of We Like to Wrap on the Until next time.
And you have a beautiful event for everyone to definitely make sure that
next Tuesday, we are doing a webinar, a masterclass, the ultimate property investment webinar that is going to be live, where I teach you step by step. I actually put my money where my mouth is and show you how to build a multi-million-dollar portfolio without selling you a $50,000 course. Did I just burp on my espresso martini? I hope that makes the cut. Thank you, producer Anna. Thank you, Ryan, for this episode. On that note, till next time.
Peace.